Brothers and sisters, today we will see Exodus chapters 7 and 8. Exodus 7, the Nile turns to blood. After Moses and Aaron spoke to Pharaoh about letting the Israelites go, God told Moses to go to Pharaoh again and perform signs and wonders. God said he would harden Pharaoh's heart, and Pharaoh would not listen to them. So, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh, and Aaron threw his staff down before Pharaoh and his officials. The staff turned into a snake. But Pharaoh called his wise men and sorcerers, and they also turned their staffs into snakes. However, Aaron's snake swallowed up their snakes. Despite witnessing this miracle, Pharaoh's heart remained stubborn, and he did not listen to Moses and Aaron. Then God told Moses to meet Pharaoh by the Nile River the next morning, and Moses would turn the water into blood. The next morning, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh, and Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of the Nile. Suddenly, all the water in the river turned into blood. The fish in the Nile died, and the river smelled terrible. But Pharaoh's magicians also turned water into blood, so Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, and he did not let the Israelites go. The people of Egypt were desperate for water, and they had to dig around the river to find drinkable water. Yet Pharaoh's heart remained unchanged, and he refused to release the Israelites from slavery. Exodus 7 reveals God's power over the elements and his authority over Pharaoh. It shows how Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and despite witnessing God's miracles, he still refused to let the Israelites go. This chapter sets the stage for the subsequent plagues that would befall Egypt. Note, the account of the plagues in Exodus carries a serious and significant message, and it is important to approach it with reverence and respect for its spiritual and historical significance. Exodus 8, the plague of frogs. After the water of the Nile turned to blood, God instructed Moses to go to Pharaoh again and warn him of another plague if he did not let the Israelites go. So, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh, and Moses pleaded with him to release the people. When Pharaoh asked for a sign, Moses told him that God would send a plague of frogs. The next day, as Moses had warned, the land of Egypt was filled with frogs. They came into the houses, the bedrooms, and even into Pharaoh's palace. The frogs were everywhere. Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and asked them to pray to God to take away the frogs. Moses told Pharaoh that he could choose the time when the frogs would leave. Pharaoh asked Moses to get rid of the frogs the next day, and he promised to let the Israelites go and offer sacrifices to God. True to his word, Moses prayed to God, and the next day, all the frogs died. The Egyptians gathered them in great heaps, and the land stank because of the dead frogs. But when Pharaoh saw that the frogs were gone, he again hardened his heart, and did not keep his promise to let the people go. Exodus 8 shows God's power over creation as he sends a plague of frogs upon Egypt. Despite Pharaoh's temporary willingness to release the Israelites, his heart remained hardened, and he continued to resist God's command. This chapter sets the stage for the following plagues that would come upon Egypt as a result of Pharaoh's stubbornness. Dear brothers and sisters, we will continue the next chapters in the next video. Stay blessed. Amen. Kindly subscribe and share. Thank you and good night.